So greetings again from Tusculum University. I'm Dr. Katherine Everhart, and I met you in an earlier video. I'm an assistant professor of sociology. I'm also the co-advisor of the Black Student Union at Tusculum. And earlier I was joined by Jayla Arnwine, who is a former co-president of the Black Student Union. And we were talking about championing change at Tusculum as part of the NCAA Diversity and Inclusion Campaign, and this is for day 2, and you can follow along at hashtag NCAA Inclusion. And in that earlier conversation, we talked about how a student-led initiative resulted in curriculum changes at our institution, so that we have classes now on race and ethnicity, and we have a new African American Studies minor. I'm now joined by senior Brianna Oats, one of the founding members of the Black Student Union and our current co-president. So Bri, if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So I am a criminal justice major and a psychology minor. I play women's soccer as of this year. And I'm serving as current co-president of the BSU with Ira. So.
Yeah, and you know, we, in the earlier video, Jay and I talked a little bit about how all of this came about since spring 2020. Bree was part of the initiative from the very beginning. And so also served as our social media, public relations, marketing person. And so we're very fortunate to have her in the role of co-president along with Ira Heppard. And so there's always changes, right? As new members come into the Black Student Union or any organization, those changes shape the mission in different ways or the goals of the group. And so, Bree, could you talk a little bit about, the mission looking forward, what the, like things that the Black Student Union wants to focus on in this coming year?
I think definitely a big focus for the BSU is just to offer inclusion on campus and a safe space for Black students to sort of get together and talk about issues that they feel that they're facing in the Black community. And I think it's just creating a good environment to show that Tusculum cares about not only, athletics and education, but they care about inclusion. And it's just important to continue the BSU from last year because I think we had a really good starting off point. I think we really did well with starting the events that we did, like Black and Green. And I think students actually enjoyed those events, especially Black students on campus, just seeing how much we've actually gotten done within that first year. And I think it's just important to carry it on this year to show how much we actually care.
Yeah, and I think, an important part was certainly developing a sense of community. So, outside of that, having a group of students that you could count on and to support you and to reach out to when, whatever was happening in the world, but also just what's happening in our own lives, on the field in our classes. So I think that was a really great dynamic that y'all developed last year. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the events that are, in the works, have been talked about, that we're hoping to have in the coming year?
So we definitely want to incorporate a lot of fun this year. I think with COVID, everybody's been really stressed and there's just been a lot going on for people. So we want to make things really fun for not only just the BSU, but the students on Tusculum campus in general. We're looking to celebrate Diversity Week in the second week of February. That's a whole big thing on campus that everybody's been talking about. We want to have an event to feature the long history of Black student organizations on campus with alumni, as we found out last year that there was an old BSU that we didn't know about. So we want to celebrate that and talk about that. We want to have an event to feature African American foodways, and we love food here in the BSU, and we talk about it at almost every meeting. So we want to collaborate with the International Club to feature food from home countries. So we're looking to get students from international areas to talk about food from their culture and maybe even work with the CAF to cook it for us and just celebrate that. So we're looking to do more interactive, fun things this year.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. It seems to me one of the ways in which the BSU has expanded or goals have shifted are to think about the Black experience more globally, right? So not just the African American experience, but kind of the Black and that we do have a large portion of students that are from all across the world. And so expanding to think about that as well. And so, yeah, I think there's interesting partnerships that we're seeking to have this year. And I think also some of the panel, continuing to have those conversations as we can. So there's a lot of enthusiasm for the Celebrating Diversity Week, and it's happening in many different pockets all over campus, and the BSU is just one portion of that. So I think lastly, Bree, if you could just talk a little bit about how these types of events, how the work of the BSU and its mission and goals, and then these events, how you think that those translate into changing the perspectives of students or broadening their horizons or even the community.
I definitely think in an area like Greenville, sometimes students of color feel a little out of place. And that can just be because Greenville is majority white, and sometimes it feels like you're, in a whole different world. And I think it's just really important that the BSU shows that there's a place to connect, not only on campus, but in the community. And working with the community in Greenville and beyond in East Tennessee just really helps sort of plant yourself in this area and make it more of a home instead of just being here for college. I think it's important to connect and work with people around here, so we have a more rooted experience in Greenville and East Tennessee in general.
Yeah, I think that's great, right? Definitions of home and belongingness are really important. So Bree, thank you so much for spending some time sharing. And I hope that y'all will follow along again, the hashtag is NCAA inclusion, and feel free to follow along with the Black Student Union at Tusculum. We have a Facebook and Instagram as TU Black Student Union, all one word, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Bree.
Thank you.